So last year, I was shocked that a country under sanctions for 40 plus years could be as well developed as it looked. I was surprised at how nice and clean and on time the subway was. I went to high rise towers. I went to nice restaurants. I mean, I saw a place that if you went there, you would be like, this is a very well developed country and actually a wealthy country when it's been under sanctions. So that was impressive. And then obviously, I got a chance to go to the Aerospace Museum and see what they were able to do militarily. So not only have they developed their own infrastructure, I mean, they have mass transportation, very clean cities, like incredible museums, beautiful gardens all over the city, but they've also provided their people with free healthcare and education. I went to the University of Tehran and saw many young people there, fiercely engaged in debate and discussion with brilliant academics like, David Miller. And I saw a well-developed, healthy, clean society dedicated to their own sovereignty.
Hello and welcome to the Kim Iverson Show. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We do have a very interesting show for you tonight. We're going to be talking to someone who has been inside of Iran during this war. An American citizen, a journalist, a content creator named Ahmad, traveled to Iran and was there during these last several weeks, filming, talking to the Iranians, living life in Iran during this war. It's going to be a very interesting conversation. I know a lot of people came out and said, you've already violated 3 points of the ceasefire agreement, so basically it's off. And what we know today is that no ships are really getting through the Strait of Hormuz. I think there was fewer today than there have been during this entire war. And so, it's like when it comes to ceasefire agreements, especially when Israel and the United States are involved, they can't be trusted, unfortunately. And so we have to kind of wait and see, is there going to be an actual ceasefire agreement or is there not? And Trump can claim a ceasefire agreement all day long, but then the Israelis can blow it up, which they seem to have been doing. And so the U.S. is proving to not be in control of Israel. Israel might just continue on. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out with the ceasefire agreement. And maybe Iran is exposing that the United States has absolutely no control over Israel. But we're going to talk to Ahmad tonight, an independent journalist who's been in Iran. Let me just give you a taste of some of what Ahmad is about. This is a little bit of these are clips from his work so you can get an idea. Here it is.
Are you afraid?
ترسیدین؟
No. Why not?
چرا نترسیدی؟ It doesn't have afraid us. We would not afraid of this explosion. چرا؟
چون که ایران هیچ نمیترسه.
Iran never scared anything.
Iran is not scared of anything. Wow, okay. Was he scared on the first day of the war and now he's used to it, or he was never afraid?
از روز اول جنگ نمیترسیدی یا الان بشادت کردی؟
از روز اول جنگ.
The first day of war I never scared of.
Come on. You don't have to lie and be brave. I would be chicken shit.
میگه که بی خیال داری راست میگی واقعی میگی.
دروغ مگه دارم میگم.
You never lie.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Here is Ahmad interviewing the governor of the Strait of Hormuz. It's quite interesting what he has to say.
You prepared for
آیا شما آماده اید
the
که
extreme,
یه چیز
God
شدید
forbid, scenario where they use a nuclear weapon? Whether it's
آیا برای خدای نکرده برای تاکتیکی که اونها مثلا یه سلاح هسته‌ای استفاده کنن شما آمادگی دارید؟ Our planning was comprehensive preparation for this war. If they want to,
در دنیا نام خودشون رو به بدنامی
if they want to black fame themselves once again in the world,
بسم الله
Bismillah. Let's start.
آخر جنگ اینجوریه دیگه.
This is the end of war.
Interesting there. There might be some surprises if they drop a nuclear weapon. Here he is sailing in the Strait of Hormuz. Let's start at the beginning. First of all, do you have Iranian origin, background? Are you part Iranian?
No, I'm actually from next door in Iraq.
Okay.
I was born in Iraq, but I grew up in the United States. That's where I've lived most of my life. English is my first language. And so I look like I'm from Iran, but I'm not.
Do you speak Farsi?
I don't know. And actually, when I went to Iran, a lot of people were shocked and surprised because they look at me and they think that I'm from Iran. And then when they hear me speaking English, they're so confused. But yeah.
Okay. So what made you want to go to Iran? Is this your first trip there? Had you been there before?
This is actually my second trip. I went last summer right before the 12-day war. So it was about 3.5 weeks before. And I'm a passionate content creator, an independent journalist, I suppose. I love to produce explainer videos for my own understanding and then share that with my audience. And over the last 2 years, of course, covering October 7th, what's happening in Gaza and the region, there's simply no way to discuss the region, Israel, October 7th, without including Iran in the conversation. We know that Israel's objective was to obviously commit genocide in Gaza, expand the Greater Israel Project, and the only perceived enemy that they, love to target and say that for many decades now that they want to get out of the way is Iran. And so a couple of years ago, I and many others, I think that I don't think there's anything unique about this, but I felt as though Iran is eventually, the war will be taken to Iran. And so last summer, I had an opportunity to go see it, and I wanted to go see it because it kind of is like North Korea. We don't know what is actually going on there, and there's so much negative propaganda about it. And so I wanted to go see it. And I would joke with my friends, I want to see it before the US and Israel try to destroy it. I want to see it as it is. And so I went last summer with Max Blumenthal and Dimitri Lascaris and other journalists from the West. And, we spent most of our time in Tehran. But this trip to Iran was different, obviously, because it actually was taking place during the war. And this time I got to go to more than just the capital. And so I actually traveled across, I can't even tell you how many thousands of kilometers, just driving from city to city to city. And I did that because there are Western mainstream journalists who could easily go to Iran. I mean, there's nothing stopping them. We saw that CNN journalist was there, but he didn't stay there a very long time. Iran is not censoring journalists. They're not preventing them from doing any kind of reporting, but they refuse to go. And so that was one motivation for me, was to go and be among the few. Tim Anderson and Dimitri Lascaris came along as well. And we wanted to be a voice, for the Iranian people who are being subjected to US and Israeli bombs. But I think also I wanted to gain a deeper understanding of Iran. And so this was a unique opportunity for me to do so. Obviously, it was a bit risky at this time, but I think it was a risk worth taking.
What was your impression when you first arrived last year?
So last year, I was shocked that a country under sanctions for 40 plus years could be as well developed as it looked. Now, again, last year, my trip was contained to the capital, and much of that time was spent in the more posh areas of Tehran. I did get a chance to, go to maybe some, I guess what you can describe as a lower income area of Tehran. But, I took the subway. I was surprised at how nice and clean and on time the subway was. I went to high-rise towers. I went to nice restaurants. I mean, I saw a place that if you went there, you would be like, this is a very well-developed country and actually a wealthy country when it's been under sanctions. So that was impressive. And then obviously I got a chance to go to the Aerospace Museum and see what they were able to do militarily. So not only have they developed their own infrastructure, I mean, they have mass transportation, very clean cities, incredible museums, beautiful gardens all over the city, but they've also provided their people with free healthcare and education. I went to the University of Tehran and saw many young people there, fiercely engaged in debate and discussion with brilliant academics like, David Miller. And I saw a well-developed, healthy, clean society dedicated to their own sovereignty. And so that was last year, though. This time was different because I actually got to go outside of Tehran and see. The first city we went to was Tabriz in the northwest. And because flights are canceled, we had to drive across the border. And so we spent a lot of time driving and seeing the beautiful mountain ranges and meeting everyday people and of different ethnicities, right? Like you have the Azeri people who live in the Northwest. There was a lot of talks about the Azeris or the Kurds being used as rebels or proxies that could, engage in some kind of armed uprising against the government and flip. And from the outside, if you believe the Western mainstream propaganda, you would think, yeah, Iran is just a little more pressure and they'll be destroyed, that their people are unhappy to live under this government and they'll flip on them at any time. All they need is a little assistance. All they need is a little bombing. But what I saw actually was very different. The people are very loyal to the revolution. They're very loyal to the government, and they're very proud of the fact that they are part of Iran. Iran is not just a society or a civilization or a nation for Persian people. It's something that Kurds, Azeris, people of all ethnicities and walks of life, they view themselves as part of the fabric of the society, part of the history of the nation. And obviously Iran is, a nation that is part of greater Persian civilization, I suppose, over thousands of years. And everyone takes pride in that and they feel part of that. And so for me, I was surprised by how dedicated and committed people are to the government and to the revolution, and especially now during the war.